Hey everybody, this is Anna with Hearth of Coal. Thanks for joining me today. I've been gone for a little while. We've got some family restructuring going on. Nothing bad, everything positive. We are getting control of our financial life thanks to Dave Ramsey and the Financial Peace University, which I'm really excited about. We're also making some changes in the way we schedule things. And we just got back from vacation, which was awesome. I got a little bit of sun. I don't know if you can see here in Michigan. Usually I'm about that color, but I actually got sunlight. Woo. So anyway, we're back and we're getting back into the swing of things. One of the things that got me thinking was we encounter stuff all the time. We build up our immune systems, or we should be, in order to deal with these struggles that our immune system faces. The coronavirus is no different. I mean, it is different, otherwise it wouldn't be novel, right? Sorry, little kind of a tangent. I do that a lot. But one of the things I was thinking about is how we can take steps. Sorry, my jar fell over. How we can take steps to protect ourselves every day against all kinds of bugs and germs and viruses. And it also helps to have a good foundation of health moving through places of sickness, if that makes sense. I'm not a medical professional. I won't pretend that I am. These are some things that I do for myself and my family that seem to help, quite frankly, and they've helped for a long time. This is what I'm going to share today is one of those pieces of hearth wisdom passed down forever and ever, and it's a type of stimulating tonic that kind of gets your blood going. At least that's the theory of it. It's called fire cider, and there are lots of variations of it. Rosemary Gladstar, she is the one who kind of brought this to the mainstream public back in the 60s, 70s, back when herbalism wasn't one of those household words. Now, however, it's making a resurgence, and so there's been lawsuits about the name fire cider and the producting and branding and everything else. It's a little insane to think that recipes as, I don't know, foundational as chicken soup and hot toddies are now under copyright, but this one isn't. She fought very hard for fire cider to be public information, and so thankfully we have it, and I've been using it for about 15 years. I make it every fall. I ran out this last fall. Everybody was feeling pretty rough. So I'm making a new batch, and since I'm doing that, and this is the Hearth of Coal, I thought it would be good to share this hearth recipe with you today. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, so I just want to make it known that this is simply a recipe that me and my family use to top off our immune system, so to speak. If you want to research it more, definitely Google Box is awesome. You can check out Rosemary Gladstar and all of her products and wisdom that she has to offer. She's pretty down to earth for herbalism. She's one of the founders, so how could she not be, right? So let's get into it. First of all, I have a large jar with some kind of sealing lid on it. I like this one because one, it was free, and two, I've had it forever. But it's about the right size for the recipe. It gives room for the ingredients to fit without having to like shove it in the jar. So I don't know if you call this a half gallon, maybe. Inside, let's see if you can see it. Inside I have a mixture, there we go, of dried rosemary, about a quarter cup-ish. Some black peppercorns, I'd say 2 tablespoons of that. I kind of go by feel now, so forgive me if I'm a little bit of this, a little bit of that. 1 lemon, the whole lemon, you want to zest it so you get all those nice flavonoids out of it and the oils. And you zest it, you cut it up, you put it in the jar. Orange, same thing. Zest it, cut it up, toss it in the jar. I'm going to be doing all that, but I want to explain the ingredients first. So this guy's horseradish. This is what he'll look like in the store. You can get prepared horseradish, but the downside is it's already been in vinegar, so that can throw off the taste a bit. I like to use fresh. This poor dude's pretty dried out. It's springtime in Michigan. We don't really get fresh stock until midsummer. But anywho, he will do. You want to get about this much. So all in all, that's about how big he'll be when you buy him. This is all we'll need, maybe just under a hand size. That'll be grated. Ginger root, just a smaller than the palm of your hand, or the palm of my hand in this case, chunk. I just take a spoon and I skin it. I'll show you how to do that. I've used turmeric powder in the past, but I want to try using fresh powder, or fresh turmeric this time. So I'm going to use these guys, and that's him right there. I don't know if you can see him very well. They're small. They look like a ginger root, but they're like the nodes off of a ginger root. This is ginger. This is the node of the ginger, so you can kind of see the similarities. But the thing about turmeric is he's orange, and he is very good for fighting inflammation. Ginger root's good for stimulating blood and for also fighting inflammation, but more geared towards digestive health. Helps with heartburn, all kinds of nausea. Ginger's awesome, and it tastes good. So then moving on, we have garlic. I don't use a whole head of garlic. I'll probably use a half a head, so maybe 10-15 cloves, depending on how potent it is. If it's really potent, I'll cut it down. I love garlic, but it throws the flavor off. Big red onion. I like red onion because it's a little more spicy. You can certainly do Vidalia, Spanish onions, white onions, whatever you want to do. It's infinitely moldable to your taste, your family's tastes. 2 jalapeno peppers. Remember to wear gloves whenever you're chopping these bad boys, because they will hurt if you don't. Maybe not right away, but as soon as you go to touch your face, you'll remember that you forgot to wash your hands, which leads to the coronavirus. So come on now, wash your hands. We're going to cut this guy up, seed it. I don't want the seeds in there, there's too much spice. Let me see, I think that's everybody. So I'm going to get everyone chopped up, and we will come back for the finished product. So one thing is, whenever you're skinning or peeling the horseradish root, you want to make sure that you get that outer layer. It's not going to show up very well. Come on, focus. Here we go. So on the inside, you'll see the rings, and then it goes out to this outer layer right here. That papery stuff, you don't really need that. It's not going to throw anything off, but that's usually where the dirt hides, so we don't want that. So this is going to sit for a little while before we use it, and I don't want to take the chance of anything growing in here that I don't want to grow in here. The ginger root, cool trick. Hold on, I'll be right back. Spoon. Because ginger root is such a thin-skinned rhizome, you don't want to cut it with a knife. You don't want to skin it with a knife because it'll take a lot of the actual ginger off of it. So you just use a spoon. Yeah, you can see me there. Just take a spoon and just kind of peel it off. Should come off pretty easily. Like I say, ginger's a pretty thin-skinned guy, so just pull that off. Plus, the rounded shape of the spoon kind of helps you get in all those little nooks and crannies that ginger tends to have. Such a good root to have. Oh, it smells so good. Guys, I wish I could have, like, somebody invent smell-o-vision, please. Even though there might be some bad stuff, this is a reason for smell-o-vision. Just as a side note, some people may be sensitive to the juice of ginger on their skin. I have never experienced it be so potent that it stings or tingles or anything. But if you notice any of that, by all means, definitely wear rubber gloves or latex gloves while you're preparing ginger. If you know you have very sensitive skin or you have, open cuts or anything, definitely protect yourself. Isn't it funny though, like recipes like this, that There has even been a court battle over who owns the rights to the name and the recipe. Like, what would you do if someone said, oh, you can't make chicken soup anymore without paying royalties, or you can't sell your brownie mix at the state fair because using the word brownie means that you're copyright infringing on someone? It's ridiculous. And the same thing happened with this fire cider recipe. It's really interesting, at least to me, but I find weird things interesting. How all that went down. And yet, here we are, making fire cider. Because it's people's medicine, you know, it's one of those remedies that you just know. And you may not understand where you know it from, but you just know. And it's not complicated. Once you make it, you'll probably make it forever. And hopefully you'll tell your kids about it. And then they'll grow rosemary in their garden and, you know, I don't know, make the world a more pretty place. Wow, I sound like a hippie. Whatever. I think my children might be home. I don't know. They went to the park. I know, shock, gasp. They went unsupervised. Well, they're 13 and 15, so they'll be fine. So yeah, I was right. They're home. And now they're going to destroy some brownies because we made them and they're delicious. So once you're all done skinning the ginger, then he's going to go in the grate pile. He'll be grated in with the horseradish. It doesn't take a long time. Although it does build arm muscles. Alright, then we move on to the turmeric. Just like the ginger, we're going to skin him with a spoon. This guy's a little bit dry, so we don't want to push too hard, otherwise he'll just chunk apart like that. You'll notice whenever you do that, that this guy's got a very pungent, like earthy smell. So I just grabbed 2 little nodes of turmeric. You can adjust the taste. I find the more you put in, the more bitter it becomes. So 2, I think, is a really good number. What I will do is I'll put a link in the description to let you know where you can find a printable version of this recipe, and a link to Rosemary Gladstar's website. You can kind of check her out. I wish I lived closer to where she lives, but so she's very busy and all the things that, you know, famous herbalists do. Is that a thing? Famous herbalists? I think it is. Alright, so he's going to go in my grate it pile. With your lemons and your oranges, you want to take and wash them first in hot water, because they put a film on them. It's like wax. Have you ever noticed whenever you scrape your finger across it, there's like that waxy substance? Anyway, just warm water, scrub them. You don't need any kind of soap with them, but if you want to use it, it won't hurt it. I wouldn't normally do this since I would be peeling it, but I'm not. I'm zesting it, so you definitely want to get all that wax out of there. From my understanding, it is an edible wax because they know people don't generally wash their food, at least not their oranges and stuff. They're going to peel it anyway, but I'd rather not eat it. If you've ever seen those people at the grocery store where they're like, oh, that's a nice one, squeeze, squeeze, smell it. Nope, put it back. That's why I wash my fruit. Alright, now my hands are nice and dry. Box grater. Great invention. I love it. See what I did there? Dun, 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 dun. And whenever you're grating citrus, I don't know this to be absolute fact, but this is the way I do it, turns out pretty good, is you just want to get down till it looks orange. You don't want to get down to the white of it because that's where all the bitter stuff is. So you don't want to do that. The white is going to go in there anyway, but the finer you shred or zest things, the more surface area they get, so their flavor gets exposed more. Science stuff, it's crazy. See, if I were smart about how I wanted to do this, I would have mise en placed everything before starting the video, so it would have been like, oh, see what we can do, guys, and then just throw it in the jar and you're good to go. But I wanted to show you because sometimes whenever we make a thing or we hear about a thing and it's done easily, if we run into struggles while we're doing it, then we kind of get discouraged. At least I do. If I read a simple recipe and I go to make it and it's like 93,000 steps long, I'm like, piss on it. They totally misrepresented what it was. I didn't want to do that. And I'm a glutton for punishment, so I am going to do all of this and you're going to watch me. Well, it's up to you if you watch me or not. But if you fast forward, I won't be offended, I understand. Alright, orange is zested. Next up is the lemon. I love lemons. I always have lemons in my house. But not my garage. No, sorry, bad dad joke. I like lemons, they make everything smell good. Again, smell-o-vision. And lemon and honey and ginger and a cup of hot water. It's a very good throat soother, mucus buster. Again, for the springtime crud that everybody gets. At least that's what I use it for. These statements had not been evaluated by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, so please don't sue me. This is just something that I do. Not saying it's the right way to handle it, but this is what I do, and this is what I use it for. Now, if you're allergic to any of these ingredients, obviously don't make this product. So just don't. I haven't met too many people who are allergic to the stuff that's here. Maybe onions and garlic they're sensitive to. You can leave those out if you want to. Add a little cayenne pepper maybe to replace the heat. But seriously, if you're allergic to this stuff, you know that. It's not my fault that you chose to make this recipe. So just like do little tests. See if you're allergic to things before you make them. Guess I should do the disclaimer in the beginning of the video, not the middle. But alright, limon is done. All that beautiful zest in there. So pretty. And all of the ingredients, they just get diced, shredded, chopped, whatever, tossed in the jar. And we'll cover the rest of it. It's apple cider vinegar and honey. So once we get there, we'll get there. This is the longest part, so. I definitely recommend shredding your ginger and your horseradish and turmeric, because again, more surface area equals more flavor. And it gives the apple cider vinegar a lot of surface to work on and get all those lovely phytochemicals out. We don't want thumb meat in the mixture, so be careful when you get down to the last little nub, because it's easy to get yourself. I almost did. Oh, also, if you've not worked with ginger before fresh, just be aware that it is really stringy. It's normal. It's just the way that it is. What is that little thing up there? There. That's more better. My camera focus was for some reason over on my cabinets. I'm not sure why. And if it's too close to shred, like you saw me almost do it to my thumb again, then you can just cut it very finely with a knife. I find that takes longer, so I don't do it that way. Now the turmeric will go fast because he's a little more hard and crumbly, so he'll go pretty quick. Look at that nice bright orange color though. Yum. Can't wait. Not recommended to eat him fresh. Tried it, not good. And if anybody knows of better ways of doing this, please let me know, by all means. Like I've said before, I'm not above criticism. If you know of a better way, or I'm doing something wrong, let me know. Now this one's the hard one, because horseradish is tough, very fibrous, so he takes a little bit of force and he ends up splintering, kind of like a chunk of wood. So I try to get, once you get it started, it's messy. If you have a food processor, totally doable. That would probably be the easy way to do it, but I'm stubborn. I do almost all of this stuff by hand. It's just satisfying, I guess. Okay, we're going to peel you off. Oh, I've never done that. I wonder if you can just do strips. Just pull it apart. How that would go. We're going to do it together, guys. I'm just going to peel it into strips. Save my little arm balls. My arm balls. How do you like that? Make up words and anatomy. He's just so darn dry. There's almost no moisture in him at all. So I'm cutting him like kindling wood now. Look at that. So I'm just breaking it up, just kind of to give it a little more surface area to be used. I'm putting them out all again in this jar, which I've got about a 1/4 cup of rosemary, dried rosemary, and 2 tablespoons of black peppercorns, roughly. I just kind of measured in a little scoop of my hand and tossed it in there. So this is not a very precise recipe. I mean, it can be, but it's overall, I mean, it's like you make soups. You don't really measure things for soup, or at least I don't. It all just kind of goes in the pot, and you wait for it to taste delicious. I'm a big fan of herbals, mostly because they are accessible. And it's not something that you have to go to the doctor, get a referral, do all of the steps that the simplest things in modern medicine you have to go through. I'm not saying modern medicine is bad. It is not. It has its place. Some startling innovations. Oh my gosh, my knife. A lot of really good life-saving technology is here because of modern medicine. And so it's kind of become the go-to because it's effective, right? Well, there are other things that ounce of prevention kind of thing. Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, etc., etc. Well, this is the prevention. This is one way to do it. Herbal medicine is an accessible way to keep yourself healthy. and treat general illness. Like you've got the blahs, and you've got a cold, chronic disease is proving to be well managed with herbal medicine. And I know some people are going to say, well, yeah, herbal medicine is good. We smoke pot all the time. It helps with our lupus. It helps with our MS. It helps with all these issues. Absolutely. There are a lot of trials that have come out and are in circulation. Cannabis and CBD oil are very good, potent, powerful, accessible medicines for a lot of different illnesses and ailments. One thing to keep in mind, though, guys, is that even though it is legal recreationally and medically in our great state of Michigan, it is not legal federally. So if you do smoke marijuana, if you take CBD oil, if you have a medical marijuana card, if you transport marijuana, any of those things, and you are caught with a firearm, it is a federal offense, no matter where it's legal in your state. I don't make laws. I just have to let you know about that one because it's a big deal. A lot of people get very upset that, well, just because they smoke pot, they can't have a gun. Well, yeah, that's what the federal government says. So that's how it be. I don't prescribe to marijuana in any form, but I'm not going to knock people who do, except that now they've taken away one of the ways to defend themselves. But to each their own. So I'm just cutting this up. Doesn't have to be pretty, obviously. Skin and all goes right in the jar. Don't need him anymore. The onion, everybody's least favorite thing to cut. So I'm not going to cut the bottom off. I'm trying something. I've heard that if you don't cut the bottom off the onion, it won't make your eyes hurt. I call shenanigans on that, but we'll see. Because no matter what, you're still releasing all the oils. Yep, it's horse hucky. Definitely still gets you. Unless I'm doing it wrong, let me know. Yawn. Random cooking tip or info, whatever, random knowledge. No, just powder. So in cooking, the Trinity, right? You've got garlic, onion, celery. It's like the base of almost every good dish. I don't know why, just made me think of it, so I'm letting you know. The Trinity makes everything good. Children are stirring. Wide mouth jars if you want to make a smaller batch of this. A wide mouth quart jar would probably be the smallest I would go. It's because you want to give a lot of room, or enough room for it to circulate. Get all the goodies out of there. Alright, that's done. Garlic. Needs garlic. Just dated myself. Anyway, good movie, Quigley Down Under. For all you young folk who don't know who that is, or what that is. So, I don't know, how do you guys feel about this sort of video? It's a lot different than what we were talking about. There's really no rhyme or reason. I just felt like it would be a good topic. If you like things like this, let me know, and I can make more. Ask me questions. Try to respond. Oh, tip. So you take your knife blade, and you take your garlic, smack it. Make sure you're smacking the flat of the blade. Don't be stupid. Don't be a dummy. but it just breaks it apart, makes it easier to kind of smush, smash, mince, whatever you're going to end up doing with it. See, now you've got little smushed pieces to work with. So let's see, what's today? March 7th. So in a month, we will uncork this, so to speak, and taste it. Of course, I know it's going to taste good because I've done it before, but you may not know. So you should make it at the same time, or make it, wait a month, and then strain all the goodies out. Getting ahead of myself because I don't know, it's what I do. If you've been with me at all, watching any of my videos, you'll know that I have a tendency to ramble. I'll eventually make it back to my topic, but initially I ramble. Jalapenos I'm going to wait to do because, no joke, those are rough. Alright, like I said earlier, rubber gloves will save your eye peepers from the juices that will inevitably wind up like this. Once you have a scratch after you cut jalapenos, always happens. Touching your mouth, anywhere. If you don't wear gloves when you cut jalapenos, don't say I didn't warn you. That's my dog. That shows that. Isn't she pretty? Aren't you a pretty girl? What are you doing? Yeah, go on. You know you're not supposed to be in the kitchen. She's not supposed to be in here when I'm cooking. So all I've done is I just cut it in half, and you can take the jalapeno and just pop those seeds right out of there. That's the hot part, or the hottest part of the pepper. So I don't want them. I mean, if you really like it hot, go for it. You know, you can change up what kind of peppers you use. How much of it you use. You know, over time it does increase in heat. So I've noticed that 2 jalapenos is about my limit, but it doesn't mean it has to be your limit. If you like it very spicy, oh, it just went really close to my eye. Squirted me. But you can use habaneros, maybe some Scotch bonnet peppers, see how those work out. Those are pretty good flavor too. Just play with it. It's a really versatile, changeable recipe depending on your taste. Get out of there. Did you guys ever see that video of the little girl who thought that a jalapeno was a pickle? And her mother, bless her heart, encouraged it. And so the little girl took a big bite of the pickle. And it didn't kick in for a few minutes. But once it did, I would not want to be within earshot of that little kid. Poor thing. It was funny. I laughed because I'm an evil person. But anyway, if you haven't seen it, you should go check it out because it's funny. If you're evil like me. Now that would be pretty mean because these are big jalapeno peppers. Eternal prankster weighing in here. If you were making a veggie tray, you could do like normal peppers and then mix in a couple jalapenos so that nobody would tell that between that and a bell pepper, nobody would know until they ate it, and then they would know. But anyway, I am not advocating for the torture of other people. No matter how amusing it is. Just a stray thought. Kind of like putting, what was the, like the X-Lax, they used to come in chocolate bars. I don't know if they still do, but take those and leave them out where, you know, little kids who get into stuff. Oh yeah. Not a lot, just a little. I'm twisted, sorry. So the thing that we are going to put over, and just so you can see how pretty this turned out. Let me see, we got all of our dried stuff on the bottom. We got our horseradish, lemons, all the good stuff. layer of onions and then jalapenos on top. Isn't that nice? It looks like something out of a magazine or something. I said something like 4 times. Anyway, done. All you have to do now is add your apple cider vinegar. I don't have much left, but this is Bragg's organic apple cider vinegar. I like this because it's got what they call the mother. It's unpasteurized. Anywho, that's what I use. I'm gonna pour that in there. I don't have much left. You can use standard pasteurized, you know, run-of-the-mill apple cider vinegar as well. But you're just gonna cover, just gonna rinse that out. Da, 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 da. You go just till you cover all the veggies. And I think I'm gonna need to add more vinegar. Oh yeah. So that was roughly, see, that was a pint and a half. So we might need a full quart of vinegar. I'm gonna take these off now. I'm just going to fill it up because I really like this stuff, so I want to get the most out of it. But you really only need to do it to cover. Kind of give it a stir. Get everybody working together. All right, that is fire cider in process. I'm gonna put the lid on that. You're just gonna store it, so you don't have to refrigerate it. You can put it in like the pantry. I have a little pantry. It's actually kind of cool here. Come on. I'll take you with me. Might help if I turn on some lights. Behold my pantry. It has everything in it. Well, how do I turn my camera around? Well, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, well, we'll just do it this way. Anywho, so that's it. I've got all my books, herbs, lots of herbs. I have a problem. Yeah, I've got some root powders. So this is like a side hobby passion of mine. And all my jars. It's a little crowded in here right now. Because this is me. I am a crowded and cluttered kind of person. I know where it all is. I just don't move it because then I'll lose it. Anywho, and what's really cool is it's just off my dining room. So, ta-da! I like it. It's my herb closet. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me this far. I know it's almost an hour-long video. And sorry, actually no, I'm not sorry. I wanted you to see how this process worked, all the different things that go into it, and actually how easy it is once you do it. So let's see, it's March 7th, so I'll see you back here on April 7th. Have a great one. Thanks for joining me at the hearth, and we'll see you next time. Okay, P.S. I almost forgot something that's actually kind of important. While your mixture is fermenting, doing its thing, you'll want to go in every day and shake it. It just kind of gets everything disrupted, moves it around. That's an important part of this whole thing. So you don't want it to settle. If you forget to shake it for a day or two, not that big of a deal, but get out there and shake it, shake it, shake it. Anyway, yeah, just thought I'd drop that in since I forgot to tell you the first time. All right, we'll check you next time, and thanks for coming to the hearth.